Hello everybody, this is Gregory with How I Lost Over 100 Pounds and I've kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and maintenance. Today we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of chips. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, which has hundreds of articles and recipes. My two podcasts, The Awakened Man, which is very health specific, and also The Cinema Rag, which is about movies. You can find those on Apple and Spotify. And if you like other YouTube channels, I do have 5-Minute Catholic Apologetics and Living. And lastly, if you appreciate my content, there's a link for PayPal. Chips. We love chips. Okay. Chips, big industry here. And not just in America, but all over the world. They call them totopos over in the Latin America world. Just chips are well loved. And why not? They're crunchy, they're salty, and they taste good. Now, is there a place for chips in our life? Sure. Like an ongoing series here on the do's and don'ts of the do's and don'ts of bread, the do's and don'ts of rice, the do's and don'ts of sandwiches. Sure. I mean, again, I'm not some purist who believes that you need to eliminate fill in the blank for the rest of your life to maintain your weight. No. I think that when you're weight losing, it does make more sense to maybe eliminate certain things from your life, certainly, high refined sugar products like cakes. But when it comes to weight maintenance, which is the harder part and the one that you have to think long term, you certainly don't want to remove things for the rest of your life. So let's talk about chips. Some do's and don'ts. What are some don'ts? Okay, let's look at what chips are essentially. Most chips are going to be potato based or corn based. Either way, they're fried. That's not good. Okay, we can strip it away. Yes, we have baked chipped variety, and overall those are healthier. But the conventional chip is fried. It's fried, typically rancid, industrial grade vegetable oil. This stuff is horrible for us. We talk about it in the do's and don'ts with nuts as well, because nuts are roasted in the same industrial grade vegetable oil. The vegetable oils that Ansel Keys told us were so healthy for us, no, they're actually very bad, and they lead to a lot of coronary artery problems and cardiovascular problems. They're just really bad for us. So let's strip it away. So anytime you hear, chips are healthy, yeah, okay, let's look. It's like there's a gradation, there's a gamut, a spectrum, but let's look at for what it is. Chips are fried. Problem number one. Problem number two. The majority of chips that people eat are loaded with monosodium glutamate. Now, MSG is an excitotoxin. It's an obesogen and it's an excitotoxin. So what do I mean by an excitotoxin? It's a toxin to our nervous system that overstimulates our neurons to the point where they just go whoop. Not good for our nervous system. It's an obesogen. It's in that it leads to obesity. So it's a chemical that they put on stuff to make it taste better, a flavor enhancer. So MSGs will typically add flavor to things, even though it's not an authentic flavor. So in the chip world, barbecue flavored, sour cream flavored, cheddar flavored, anything that's on Cheetos, anything that's on Doritos, Cool Ranch, all these flavors are fake. Like with barbecue, it's not like there's some dude in a factory where each chip is going down a conveyor belt and he's dropping a drop of barbecue sauce on it. And even if he was, barbecue sauce is horrible for you, but either way, it's not like it's authentic. It's essentially sprayed chemicals on these chips to make them taste better, to make them addictive. This is a problem. So MSG should be avoided. Now, luckily with chips, there are ways to avoid MSGs. So with MSGs, you look at tortilla chips, typically as a whole, don't have MSGs. You look at Fritos, don't have MSGs. You look at Funyuns, things that don't have flavor, don't have MSGs. So that's one way to avoid them. But obviously the Cheetos, the honey mustard, Fritos, and the aforementioned varieties of flavor, cheddar, sour cream, they're just loaded with MSGs. So you got to avoid this because those are bad for your health. Chips in general, whether they're potato-based or they're corn-based, are high in calories. And we tend to forget that because we can eat an entire gigantic bag of chips, either with hummus or with salsa or with cheese, whatever it is, and we can consume these. But look on the back. A serving size is not a lot of chips for that 120 calories. It's not a lot. So you need to understand that both the potato and the corn are high in calories. So you look at high in calories, typically low in fiber, very low in fiber, very low in protein, and high in fats, especially saturated fats, because of the oil that they're fried in. Now, potato versus corn, I would tell you as a whole, corn is going to be a little more nutrient dense. and I would tell you in particular, blue corn chips would probably be the par excellence of potato versus corn. You could do blue corn chips, tortilla chips, because like A, they don't have MSGs. B, they have a little more fiber because they do come from blue corn. And yeah, growing up, I had no idea there was blue corn. And there's other colored corn too. But that's the best. In the potato world, potatoes don't really have nearly as much nutrition as corn. And that's not saying like, because corn doesn't really have a lot of nutrition as well. So what is the guide to chips? Well, like with everything, it's going to be portion control, like with anything. I'm not going to tell you never to eat chips, but I would tell you eating a Cheeto, eating a serving of Cheetos is not going to kill you, obviously. And if you like Cheetos or Takis or any, whatever the Doritos, just eat them in moderation. But I would tell you, if you are a big chip person, veer toward the tortilla chips and veer toward probably blue corn chips. Now, we do have baked varieties of chips. That's great. If you want to buy baked stuff, they do have like baked Cheetos, but understand those Cheetos still have MSGs. But yeah, do baked. Or even better yet, bake your own tortilla chips. There's tons of recipes. I believe we have a couple at naturopathicearth.com, my website, on how to bake your own chips. That's the way to go because again, like you control the ingredients, you control it. Now, some people don't want to bake their own chips because again, it takes work to slice up potatoes or to smush the corn and all of that. So the large majority of people are going to buy the conventional based chips. Now, there is a fringe market of like lentil-based chips, bean-based chips, and whatnot. Look, they tend to be very expensive, price per ounce. So that's kind of an issue. But look, if you like the taste and money is no object, typically these, the lentil chips, are going to be a little more nutrient dense. So if you develop a taste for these things and you like them, that's great. Other ones to avoid, like pita chips, it's just enriched flour, fried or baked. So like, the pita chips, the ones you put on, I would stay away from those. Veggie chips are a big misnomer because the veggie chips have like a sprinkling of either spinach or tomato paste to make you think that they're veggie based, but they're mostly potato chips. And most of the time, not always, but most of the time they're not sprayed with MSGs. But even in veggie chips, the ones that are ranch flavored, those have MSGs. And remember with MSGs, there's a lot of code words. The most famous code word for MSGs is yeast extract. So if you see yeast extract in the ingredient list, that's a code for MSG. So guys, in closing, what I would do with chips is, like with all foods, eat sparingly. I would tell you to gravitate to the blue corn chips because they tend to be the most nutrient dense. And just understand like chips are rancid, fried, industrial grade oil fried things, and they're not the best for us. And I would tell you, like, if you're going to eat hummus or something, eat it with vegetables and not with chips. But certainly there's a place for chips. And I would tell you as a whole, like blue corn tortilla chips would be better than, let's say, conventional French fries and some of the other fried things. But with all things, just knowledge is power and eat in moderation. Guys, post in the comments, let me know what kind of chips you love to eat. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.